With episode 9 releasing yesterday, there's already been tons of controversy and backlash from fans related to 3 specific parts of the episode that need to be addressed, as well as hidden details about them that many people missed. We're started with this first part that changed everything fans thought they knew about the series. The truth about Jax's involvement in the episode. It turns out there was a lot more to his role here, considering his appearance in episode 9 actually connected to a massive controversy that started months ago. You see, this earlier controversy started with fans of the show expressing their worries that Jax was unable to be redeemed in a satisfying way in the final remaining episodes of the show. A point that actually went on to become one of the main issues episode 9 ended up addressing later on. Only it was addressed in a way that went against everything that the show was being set up to accomplish. Despite the sweet sugar-coated ending after the show, Jax is essentially left with no real path to redemption. Overall, the show is negative towards Jax's healing process, as obviously from what we saw in the episode, he was left as an abstracted being. But how would this outcome go against everything that the show was setting up to accomplish, and why was this detail so significant? Well, before getting to the truth about Jax, it turns out this second part of the episode ended up being a bigger problem for fans. The fact that there was one specific scene many people didn't pick up on that was said to have changed everything about the show in a negative way. But what was this scene, and why was it so important? Well, to truly understand the scene's importance, you first need to understand its connection to Pomni and Jax. You see, it was actually revealed by the show's creator herself, Gooseworks, how the dynamic between these two characters was being set up as one of the most important parts of the entire show. She said specifically how the show is being set up to highlight this dynamic as involving someone who's too stubborn to give up on someone else. Obviously what we see with Pomni, only this other person who's being helped is also too stubborn to truly be saved, which is what we see with Jax. Only what did this specific dynamic between the characters have to do with our previously mentioned important episode 9 scene? Well, what if I told you that this specific scene was described to abandon this dynamic completely in the worst possible way? You see, this scene ended up starting with Jax walking up to Pomni shortly before it was revealed that he abstracted. This scene was essentially the only moment where Jax attempts to initiate any sort of conversation with another character following the character's separation into their own corners of the circus at the start of the episode. But in classic Jax fashion, he isn't able to fully bring himself to talk to Pomni here and tell her what he was thinking. He simply says, "Never mind," and walks away again back to his isolation. Only before doing so, Pomni was shown having a very distinct opportunity to essentially intervene and try to talk to Jax. The fact that Pomni was the character who, just before this scene, was encouraging the others to stay connected to get through the tough situation they were in following Kane's deletion, only to seemingly abandon this mindset when it clearly mattered most, as she was shown ignoring the opportunity to help Jax, went against everything we were told that the show was trying to portray. Going back to what the show's creators specifically told us, Pomni is supposed to be too stubborn to give up on Jax, which is the role we've seen her continuously fill throughout the entire show up to this point. Only giving up on Jax is exactly what we're shown here, a contradiction that directly leads to Jax finally giving up himself as well, his abstraction, which was almost as shocking as our next part of the episode, which was brought up by Digital Circus fans as a problem that also had a big mystery involved with it. The fact that, as we're told, on top of the finale killing a lot of momentum and foreshadowing details that were essentially abandoned in the end, they left a lot more questions than answers. For example, it was described how after we see Jax's character arc wrap up towards the end of the episode, the storyline very suddenly transitions to Kane appearing in the void. Didn't Kinger, a skilled programmer character, say Kane was gone? Why is he there? We do not know. Then Kane runs towards the internet. Why is he running? We do not know. Then Kane searches the characters' names on the internet. Why did he hide everyone's names? We do not know. And next, Kane is revealed to have a split personality, with all the blame being shifted onto the blue AI he was shown to have eaten back in episode 8. Why is the blue AI evil? We do not know. The entirety of episode 9 was a non-stop series of what the heck is going on, only out of all the circulating questions we were left with following the end of the show, there was one major question in particular that stuck out as especially important. I think the leftover issue here involved Kane, the red AI, as well as the blue one, commonly known to be called Abel, that was essentially never fully explained in the finale. You see, the relationship between these two was previously set up as one of the most important themes in the entire show. It was literally shown to us at the start of episode 8 how this same relationship marked the origins of the digital circus in the first place. We saw during this earlier scene how the original blue AI previously remained at peace, creating basic shapes and serving its original uninterrupted function, only for Kane to come along and consume it before the two went on to create the digital circus together. Only with Kane established as the red AI, we were never given the full truth about the blue one. What was its true nature and significance towards the story? Well, despite episode 9 finally revealing the return of this blue AI, its reintroduction into the story was seemingly random. Kane pulls it out of his gums, sends it away, and promptly returns to the circus with no clear explanation towards what was going on. We were left with more questions than answers, only going back to our biggest question of all, we were shown how there was more to the truth behind Jax's involvement in the episode than we first realized. You see, while Jax's lack of a redemption wouldn't be a problem on its own, fans of the show commonly brought up how it was nonsensical that Kane was given this redemption. Jax can't heal, okay fine, but Kane having a change of heart in less than 24 hours, getting revived, and essentially living happily ever after with the other characters is so messed up. The previous episodes literally showed Jax helping the other circus members for once, and even appreciating that Zooble still considered him to be one of them. Meanwhile, Kane finally became a true villain and brutally messed with the cast for an entire week. While Jax was introduced as a mean character who mellowed out a bit, Kane was introduced as a helpful character who became the big bad, showing how the way these characters were being built up throughout the course of the whole show strongly contradicted the fate that they ended up receiving. Only, what if this actually wasn't the end after all? You see, with episode 9's conclusion, it turns out there's been talks of more potentially in the works behind the scenes. While the show's creator has publicly denied any possibility of the digital circus receiving a second season, we were told specifically how, I remember Gooseworks saying she would be interested in making shorts, but we don't know if that's before or after the show ends, marking the possibility for these shorts to be the content we'd be expecting to see next for the show. But how do we know for sure to be expecting these shorts in the future after all? Well, it turns out I'm able to put together everything we're told about the possibility of these shorts for you early into this video right here. So for what we know towards the future of the digital circus, make sure to check it out.